Yo, what's up everybody? So in this tutorial I'm gonna show you how you can set up your own shop in the RPG in a Box engine for your own game. And well, yeah, there's a few ways how you can go about that. There is a way where you can only where you have to only use coding. For example, if you want to make a dialogue with a merchant, for example, and the merchant asks you, do you want to purchase item whatever item you want to, and then the player has choices like he wants to buy that item or he doesn't want to buy that item. And also there's going to be a condition involved in order to figure out whether the player actually has the necessary money for it. And then I'm going to show you a different way, also how you can set up a shop via a widget that's going to look like a shop menu. Alright, so I'm gonna start with the coding. So first off, we have our map here. I'm gonna put I made a new NPC that I called merchant. Just put that NPC in here. Click on that NPC. I'm gonna give him entity ID merchant, just so we don't need to do this, but I'm just doing that right now so we have more options in the future. And when player interacts, we scroll down behavior settings. Hold up, first off, yeah, movement direction random. So I want him to move around my map. And player interest, none. Yeah, movement interval fixed. We put it on 0. And now right here, when player interacts, instead of do nothing, we go with run script. And now we're gonna make the script for it. So we go to our script editor, new, and I'm gonna call this script merchant. Now it shows us a display message. We could go with this and type something in here, but I'm gonna go immediately with display choices. I already have it typed in here. And now I'm gonna give the player a few choices from that merchant. So once we talk to the merchant is gonna ask us, like, for example, do you want to buy one of my items? Question mark. Now we go to choices. And now I'm gonna give the player here a few choices. For example, buy sword. I'm gonna do 4, 3, and now I mean I could only do here buy sword, but then the player doesn't know how much it costs unless we give him a separate dialogue then after he chose buy sword, and then the merchant says the sword costs that, and then the player again has to choose, but that's unnecessary in my opinion. I'm just gonna put here buy sword for example 3 gold, because I'm gonna use items in this case. I'm not gonna use the built-in currency. I'm gonna use item. I'm also gonna show you how you can do it with currency though as well. And then buy, I don't know, buy iron for 1 gold, for example. Like, we're gonna go with these 2 choices, and then we're gonna make another choice. I'm just gonna call this cancel, so the player can back off the merchant again. So we set this up, then speaker entity. You can select none if you want. I'm gonna select a character. I don't want the player to say this because this is coming from the merchant, so I'm gonna go in here into the entity expression builder. And in this case I can use self because the script is gonna be assigned to the NPC, to the merchant, so self is gonna be the merchant. But I can also go entity by ID and type merchant in here. I'm just gonna do that now so you can see how it works. And now you can also set a result variable or a property. You can also just leave this as result. I'm gonna set this as merchant. Now I'm gonna give now we have to use evaluate condition. So because now we want to evaluate what choice the player picked. Again, we're gonna go into the conditional expression builder here, and we're going to variable equals number, because these options from display choices, they are defined by numbers. So the first choice, I already explained this in a previous tutorial, but the first choice is number 0, the second choice is number 1, and so on. So I'm gonna call this, because we call this merchant, this is gonna be merchant equals 0, means the player picked buy sword for 3 gold. If that happens, evaluate condition again, because now we want to evaluate whether the player actually has the gold. So by the way, also when we go to items, I set up a gold item. just a simple gold item. We also have the sword and the iron item there as well, just so you know that you have to do that before you go into scripting here. Then again, then we're looking for a player's inventory contains gold, because we're looking for, no, in this case contains at least, because it's 3 gold. So contains, up here we put within the brackets, we put 3 because we want it to be 3 gold, and then here we assign the gold, which is item 0005. Click OK. So now the player chooses chooses the first option, buy sword for 3 gold. It's looking for if the player has 3 gold in his inventory, and if that's not the case, then we want something like first we're gonna make, if it's the case, then it's gonna remove item, gonna put the top gold and item count -3. No, we don't need a minus because it already removes, my bad. So remove item gold 3, and give item sword 1. So now this is already completed. That's how the player can purchase the sword by dialogue. Now what we're gonna do what we want if the player doesn't have the item or he chooses a different option here. So we're gonna make a display message again. Or in this case we're gonna use a display message, and we put it to the else branch of the evaluate condition for whether the player has 3 gold or not. Display message, you don't have enough gold. And we're also gonna make the merchant say that in this case. Now what if the player chooses something else? We're gonna duplicate this one, evaluate condition, put the else branch in here, and go with merchant chooses, not merchant, sorry, player chooses merchant 1, which is instead of buy sword for 3 gold, it's buy iron for 1 gold. Now we duplicate the evaluate condition, put it here, make it a bit more apart so we can have a better overview. Player inventory, now we're looking for only 1 gold, so player's inventory contains gold. And if that's the case, again we're gonna do remove item. Gold 1, obviously always from the player character in this case. Give item iron. So now what if the player chooses cancel? This is gonna be, we don't need to make another evaluate condition, because if the player doesn't choose either buy sword for 3 gold or buy iron for 1 gold, then we can use the else branch to do something else, or if it isn't connected to anything else, then it's just gonna cancel the dialogue. So it's just gonna do, nothing is gonna happen. It's just gonna skip the dialogue. So we can test this out right now. I'm just gonna give the player quick gold, give item gold, let's give him like 10 gold in the beginning. Remove this. Come on. Now we go into the map and we assign to this NPC here, go to entity properties, and now we assign the script we just made, which we called merchant. Now let's try this. Now he's walking around. We can click on him, walk to him automatically. In case he's a bit fast actually. Okay, he's a bit too fast. Let's make this fixed on like 3. So every 3 seconds now he's gonna move. If this is 0, then he's constantly moving basically. So now every 3 seconds he's gonna make a move. Yeah, like this. So now I'm gonna talk to him. Do you want to buy one of my items? It shows his portrait because that's the entity ID that we chose. Now we can select buy sword for 3 gold, buy iron for 1 gold. I'm gonna try buy sword for 3 gold. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gold coins in here. We had 10 in here before, so now 3 got removed and we have the sword. Now if we go talk to him again. buy iron for 1 gold. Now we have all these 6 in here. And we have an iron in our inventory. And now if we talk to him again and we don't want to buy anything, we just press cancel and we're not buying anything. So these are not, because these gold items are not stackable. I forgot to make them stackable. They are in each, like 1 in each inventory slot. That's not optimal. We're gonna change this. So you go to items, go to your gold item, and then just make it stackable. And you can put the stack limit at 999. So you can have a lot of those. You can also change this, like if you want the player to have proper inventory management and to be able to deal with that, then you can maybe put this at 50, for example. So he only can stack 50 gold coins at a time. And then if he doesn't have any inventory space, he has to rearrange something in order to stack more gold, you know? That's something you can do. If not, you can already just put in 999 and then like this. So now if we go in and we have, like, I'm gonna show you this real quick. If we go in, we're getting the gold coins. Like, it's stacked already. We can also, I think, yeah, with CTRL, you can press on it and rearrange them. Alright, so this is basically how you set up a shop via dialog. The reason why I showed that particular portrait and the name is because if we click on this merchant and we go at the name, it tells us new. So we also have to change this to merchant, obviously. And portrait is the merchant portrait that I made with this capture portrait tool right here. So that's why it showed this picture right here when we talk to him. You can change this to however you want. You can also give it a different profile, you know, like whatever you want to do with that. So that's how it works with items. Now I'm going to show you how it works with currency, which is a little bit more difficult. So we're going to remove this, and in here in the startup script, in order to give our player the stat currency, hold on, first off I'm gonna make the inventory widget is already the default. So in here edit, and I give the player.stat in brackets currency plus equals like 50. So now the player will get 50 to his currency player stat. So if we go quick play, new game, now here you can see currency is 50. That's how you do it with the stat, with the built-in currency stat, which is here at the character stats. This is how you do it without an item. Now how to set up the script for the merchant in this case. Go into the edit again. There is no built-in function for currency, for the currency stat, so you have to make that by coding. So we pull this up, and now instead of if player inventory contains 2 item 5, then we're gonna make if player stat currency greater or equal to 3, then, and also remove item. We're gonna remove that, and instead we put I'm just gonna copy paste this real quick, player stat currency, and I'm gonna do minus equals 3, and in here we go with if player.stat currency bigger or equals 1, then player stat, it always has to be aligned, minus equals 1. That's how you have to code it out. Apply and save. Hold up, something is going wrong here. Unexpected token player. Oh, hold up. What did I fuck up here? We can also go to documentation and look at this, how this is done. So we can see we did exactly that. Oh, my bad. We have to do this. Yeah, we have to close it off. Now it works. So we save that. quick play again. New game. Now we can see we have 50 currency. I'm gonna talk to him. Now he has the name merchant. He still has the same image. Do you want to buy one of my items? Buy sword for 3 gold. Now we get the sword, and we can also see that our currency is down by 3 now. And the same if we click on the buy iron. Now we have 46 currency and we have iron or in. So that's how you make it by purely coding. So I'm gonna delete this code now, and I'm gonna show you how to make this as a widget. So I'm gonna make a now first off, we're gonna set up the widget like a shop. Now we want a shop menu. So we're going into the widgets, and I'm gonna make a new widget. I'm gonna call this shop. Now again, it depends on whether you're using items for your as your currency, or you use the stat as your currency. So in this, I'm first gonna show you again the item way, and then I'm gonna show you the currency way. So if you want to do this with an item, then you have to go with the crafting. You have to hide it under a crafting function. I'm going to show you how you do that. We are putting in a button. We're doing this with a button. We put the button in here. We hold on. I'm first going to call this shop right here. So I'm going to call this shop. Then we select the button. We get a bit bigger maybe. Like this. Join another button. We're gonna do this with 2 things. Or maybe let's do it like that. For example. And here at button action, we're gonna go with craft item by ID. And here item, we're gonna select whatever the player can buy. So in this case, sword. Image is also gonna be sword, and then the button text is gonna be buy sword for 3 gold, for example. And here, and this we're doing the same, craft items by ID, iron, buy iron for 1 gold, and we're gonna take the iron PNG. Oops. Okay, just leave it like that. Yeah. Maybe give it a close button as well. So now this is gonna show up. Now we have to set up the crafting. Go to the items, go to the sword, and here craftable. I already have something else in here for that I tested before. The thing is, if you do this method with items, where you hide the buy function under the crafting function basically, then you would have to set up 2 different swords if you want a sword to be both, or an item in general to be both craftable and also buyable. So in this case I have the sword. This is craftable with iron. Now if you want it also to be obtainable with your gold items by buying, then it's not enough if you just put the gold in here. You would have to make a second version of the sword in order to make this. So I'm going to remove this. In this case, I'm just going to overwrite this. I'm going to make this cost 3 gold. So it's now craftable for 3 gold. And the iron craftable right here for 1 gold. Yeah, so we go back to the script editor, new script, call this again merchant, and now we remove this. And we are going to show the widget that we just made, which we called shop. So once we talk to the guy, to the NPC, it's gonna show us this shop widget where you can buy the sword. So if we go to him, now you can see it opens the menu, the shop menu. Now we don't have any gold or any, we only have currency. We haven't assigned ourselves gold. So if I press here or here, nothing's happening because I forgot that. Hold up. Let's go to the startup script and give us 10 gold as well. Now try again. So now we have 10 gold in here in our inventory. Now if I click on that, it's in our inventory. If I click on buy iron, this is also in our inventory, and we can buy this however much we want. And now we have 3 swords. So yeah, that's basically that. This is basically crafting, but it looks like a shop. So that's what I'm doing for my games, because I think this is one of the best ways to do it. I'm gonna show you this way also now with currency, because we have currency in here, how you would set it up with the shop item slots in the widgets. So we remove this, we go to widget tools, and we go to shop item slot. Gonna make this a bit bigger, put another one in here like this. Now we click on that, and now in here we can assign the item that we want to be able to buy. Sort, and in here iron. So here we can set at count, we can set how many items this merchant has to offer. So if we leave this at 0, then he has unlimited swords and he has unlimited iron. If we want the merchant to be limited to like 10 iron, to sell only 10 iron or only 1 sword, for example, then we have to put in the number here, for example. So he only sells 1 sword, but he sells 10 iron, for example. Yeah, like this. I'm gonna save this, and now we also have to go to the items again and go to the item that we want to sell with the currency, and in here down at the bottom you have the cost of that it costs for the player stat. So in this case this is the base player stat currency. If we go to sort, we have to make this 3 because that costs 3, the iron costs 1, so that's alright. So now we're gonna try this again. Now we talk them again, and now this is how it shows. Like there is no text now. You could put a text field here, for example, or next to it, where it shows you by sword, stats of the sword, or something else. If you hover over the shop icon, then you also see how much it costs. It costs 3 in this case, 3 whatever, you know, it doesn't say because it's currency, it's a stat. And now if we play, like we have 50 currency, I click on this, double click, I have to double click on that in those items, in those shop slots. You have to double click, and the buttons that you can craft, you only have to click once. So now we have the sword, and now this is gone. This is an empty shop widget. Now in here you can see the iron we can buy 10 times. So we still have 47 currency. I'm just gonna buy this 10 times. Now it's also, he's sold out basically. So that's how it works with the currency. So yeah, that's basically the different ways that you can set it up. My favorite way to set up shops is with crafting and using items like gold, and then you can also make another item like silver, and then maybe copper, something like that. You know, that's my favorite way of doing it, and also because it's much simpler to script it, because you do not need these player stat currency scripts all the time. But you can actually just give item or remove item. You know, it's a little bit simpler for beginners especially. So yeah, I hope I was helpful for somebody. And yeah, see you around, guys.